TBIAphasia therapy project. It is geared towards students in 7th to 12th grade. When people ask you, where do you live, and you need to give them directions, how do you memorize what directions to give them or where to go? I would wait for the students to answer. I would expect to hear things like, I turn by the White House, or it's the second road to the right after the stoplight, or something like that. This would be a visualization way to memorize things. You just think about the different landmarks there are on your way home, and that's how you'd find your way home. How would you memorize your phone number? You've probably learned from little on, many people ask you your phone number, so over and over you repeat the phone number, and that's how you remember it, just by repetition. Well, today we're going to focus on 4 different strategies to memorizing. They're called chunking, visualization, repetition, and mnemonics. The first one, chunking, is when you put things into categories. And when you think of things and you think, oh, these certain things are all animals, or these are all fruits, that's an example of chunking. Visualization is like we said with the directions. You just see certain things, or you can see a picture in your head of something, and you visualize that to remember it. The repetition is like we said with your phone number, just constantly repeating and repeating until you've learned it and you've memorized it. And the mnemonics is when you have a phrase that the first letter of each word in that phrase stands for something else. And as we're going through these words, these big strategy words, I would write them on the board so the students could see them. Mnemonics, like I said, is a phrase. So I write this phrase on the board. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. This helps you remember the planets in our solar system. The M is for Mercury, V for Venus, E for Earth, Mother, the N in Mother for Mars, J for Jupiter, S for Saturn, U for Uranus, N for Neptune, and P for Pluto. That's an easy way to remember the planets. Are there some ways that you can remember little things that it's maybe a quirky way to remember things so you don't forget? One thing I do is when I think of spelling the word dessert and desert, it's hard for me to remember which one has the 2 S's. So I think, oh yeah, dessert, I love dessert. I would love to have 2 desserts. I know that when I spell the word dessert, it has 2 S's as opposed to desert, which only has 1. Our activities that we do today are going to focus on these 4 memory strategies. I start with showing the students this picture. I would ask them to look at this picture for 2 minutes, and using the chunking strategy, using your categories, write down as many things, or we're going to look at this picture for 2 minutes. After we look at it, I will have you write down as many things as you can remember from this picture. I would show them this picture again for 2 minutes, put it down, ask them to write what they've seen, and then we'll look at it again. The picture contains pets, or animals, I'm sorry. A dog, a horse, and a cow. It also contains sports, football, tennis, and basketball, and things you'd see outside, like the sun, the moon, and a rainbow. After we do that, I would move on to the repetition strategy. Let's all repeat this number, 4935. I would have them repeat it with me, 4935. I do this for 30 seconds to a minute, 4935, 4935. And then I would stop, have them repeat it to themselves for another minute, and then ask them, well, what number did you just memorize? 4935. That's an example of repetition. Thirdly, we'll talk about the mnemonics. I will give them all a pen and paper again and tell them that their mother wants them to remember to go to the store and buy her 3 things. Those 3 things would be milk, eggs, and butter. Now, I would like you to make a little phrase that would be easy for you to remember, milk, eggs, and butter. I would give them a couple minutes to come up with the phrase, and then I'd see what they'd say. Maybe write them all on the board. I would use the phrase, monkeys eat bananas. That would be an easy way for me to remember M-E-B, milk, eggs, butter. And the fourth activity we would do would be a memory game, which would just focus on the visualization. And I would only use about 10 pairs of items so that they could memorize where they are in the game board and try to win. It would be a fun way to end the activity. To make these activities harder for students, I would add more pictures in the picture I show them and give them less time to recall them and look at them. I would make the number that I have them memorize longer. I would make the list of groceries that their mother asked them to buy longer, and I would also add more pairs to the memory game. The direct opposite would be if a student is struggling, I would give them less pictures maybe to look at and more time. I would give them a smaller number to memorize, maybe 2 numbers. I would give them maybe 1 or 2 grocery items to remember, and then just less pairs in their memory game.
So